My name is Tom Ellis. I'm 43 years old. I was born and raised in Akron, currently live in Cuyahoga Falls, and I've been attending Cornerstone for almost 18 years now, and I serve in both the worship team as well as in the high school C students. I've been overweight all my life. When I graduated high school, I was 275 pounds. My family never really placed a lot of emphasis on healthy diet or exercise. And my chosen field of expertise just really didn't do much for me. I work on repairing computers, so I'm sitting at a desk working on computers, not a whole lot moving around. In 2008, my marriage ended, and that was the beginning of a downhill slide. Transitioning from living with my family to living alone, I ended up taking a lot of the more unhealthy choices, eating a lot of fast food, going for the cheaper options at the grocery store, which, as everybody knows, is the junk food. And it was pretty much that way until my kids came to live with me in 2014. In April of 2015, my mom passed away, and I was already nearing 400 pounds, and the depression really started to sit in. My dad came to live with me, and his health was really not great. He had severe epilepsy. He had a lot of medications that he was on, and he didn't know how to take care of himself. So I had to take that responsibility on top of raising 3 kids. Thankfully, they were all teenagers and able to help, but still the stresses that come with being a single dad, and their mom being 300 miles away, just depression was a constant thing, and I didn't even realize that I was depressed. I just pushed everything down, and I sunk into food. And from there, my weight ballooned to ultimately the highest it reached was 477 pounds. The first thing I really noticed was that I couldn't stand to play bass. My back would just start hurting constantly to the point where it was almost unbearable. So I started using a stool every Sunday morning. I couldn't take walks in the woods like I had done with my dad and my grandma and my kids when they were younger. Just everything that I loved just started slowly fading into the background. And as it did, I just kept telling myself that this is just part of getting older. This is just something I have to deal with. This is the way life is now. I have to accept it. And again, that depression, not even realizing it's there, just swallowed everything up. It eventually ended up affecting the thing I absolutely love the most. In 2014, I was asked to join the staff at the summer camp where Christ had gotten a hold of me back in 1992. So when they reached out to me and said, "Hey, we need another counselor, would you come and join us?" I jumped at the chance. 2015 happened with my mom passing away. The depression took hold, and my weight just kept climbing and climbing. So fast forward to 2018, and I went to camp. I had to ride a golf cart everywhere I went because I could not walk more than about half a block at a time. I didn't have the energy, and the pain in my lower back and my legs was just insane. So on my second day of camp, I slipped and fell in the handicap shower where I had to shower because the normal showers were too small for me. I was just too big. And when I slipped and fell, I sprained my knee and I smashed the middle 3 toes on my left foot. After they'd taken me to the hospital and gotten me checked out, I spoke with my good friend Max, who was the dean at the time. And I told him, I really don't want to leave, but I can't move. I can't do what I need to do with these kids. Max looked me square in the face, and he did something that a lot of people had not even tried to do. And he said, Tom, he says, I love you, brother, and I don't want you to go home. But you can't stay. You're not well. And I'm not just talking about your injuries. I'm talking about everything about you. Your weight is killing you. He says, if you don't seek help, if you don't do something soon, I'm worried that we're not going to have you in another year. When he said that to me, it really hit home. So my friend Max had set me down and told me in no uncertain terms the truth, that my weight was killing me. And he was absolutely right. So I went home that night, and the following morning, I made a phone call to my doctor. And I hadn't really been in for a checkup in a number of years. Miraculously, they had an opening the next morning. So I went in and I spoke with my doctor, and I told him that I need to get healthy. I was in a lot of pain, and I didn't know where to start. Because of how heavy I was, 477 pounds, I mean, that's crazy. He says, best option for you is for us to connect you with bariatric treatment. So he gave me a referral, and I met with the doctor at the St. Vincent Hospital where I had my surgery. Over the next 6 months, I spent every minute paying absolute attention to their dietitian and the doctors and nurses at the bariatric center. Between November and April, I lost 65 pounds. And on April 23rd of 2019, I had a sleeve gastrectomy. And I was very lucky. I was very blessed that I didn't have a lot of side effects. Pain was minimal. I never had to take any narcotics for it. I just, Tylenol and ice packs were my best friends for a couple of weeks. But overall, since I've lost so far about 150 pounds. And just the things that you take for granted, the small things that I've been regaining over time would blow your mind. Something as simple as being able to put your foot up on your knee to tie your shoes, or being able to buckle a seat belt without having an extender. This summer, I went to Lakeside on the Friday night of camp for their talent show, and stayed the night to bring the kids home the next day. And in that 24-hour period, I walked 10 miles with a lot of uphill, just all over town, when last year I couldn't even walk half a block. That started me on kind of I guess you'd call it a binge of walking. And I started walking the trails at the metro parks. And as a part of my walking, I picked up photography and have been snapping photos every chance I get. And just loving every minute of it. Completed the fall hiking spree for the first time in my life this year. I also have been able to once again start playing in the worship team without a stool. Being able to stand up on the stage and worship and get into the music without the constant pain in my back. But best of all, I'm able to serve with the youth. This September, when school came back into session, I started serving with the PLX high school C students. And I love every minute of it. These kids are great kids. And we're having a blast. And I never could have done this when I was heavier. I knew for a long time that my weight was robbing me of the things that I loved, but I didn't want to admit it. And I was too afraid to really put the effort in that I needed to get myself healthy. But as I slowly got worse, as more and more things were taken, I felt myself slipping away. Everything was just getting meaningless, whether it was, you name it, my music, my time with my kids, especially the time with God. You know, my trust in God started to fail because I didn't want to take the responsibility for myself. Part of me blamed him. But since making the decision to change, since making the decision to seek the help that I needed, everything that I lost has been being added back. My walking, my music, my time with my kids, and then I'm getting more things on top of it with the time with my kids, as in the youth group kids. The photography that I've been doing, that I've absolutely been loving. And now, even within the last year, I started playing with what I've always wanted to do. I've started playing with a Christian rock band, but not just any Christian rock band. I'm playing with a band called Witness, who I had followed around as a teenager. And they called me up in November of last year as I was starting on the path to get healthy. And they said, hey, we're putting the band back together, but we need a bass player. Would you be willing? I told the lead singer I didn't even need to pray about it. Just tell me where to show up. But through it all, I'm seeing the faithfulness of God and the things that He wants for me, the good things that He wants for me. But the thing is, I have to be willing to accept what He has and what His goals are for me. I am beyond thankful that God's led me to this place. He's freed me from my depression, and He's restored my joy. He's led me to do things that I never thought I could do. And I am just so excited to see what comes next.